Howdy, welcome back for more Space Engineers, and today we're going to build a small flying ship to fly around and scout for ores. So, let's get going, and I'll explain why I have a big rotor sitting in the bottom of my floor. First and foremost, we're going to look down at my toolbar down there, and you're going to see that I have different tools. Switch to the first toolbar, and they have that little chevron there. Those are upgraded tools. You can make those in the refinery. If I don't hit lag like that, geez. So if you come into production, sorry, not in the refinery, in the assembler, and you click up here on tools, you'll see that there's plenty of tool upgrades. We were able to upgrade to the enhanced, and I should have been using these for a little while now because they just take cobalt to get this first chevron upgrade. They're a little faster, a little more efficient. You're gonna want to use them. So as soon as you can upgrade your tools, do it. Now, I did go through and I promised I would do some decorating. And this is all using plain vanilla blocks. And it's not the best. I'm not the best interior decorator. But we've made a little kitchenette over here. Probably should add some light. Added a ginormous ceiling fan because I could. And added a bookshelf. And a couch as best I could. And a bedroom. This is what people used to use for a bed before they did the DLC, and it still works. This is a passageway block. You'll find that in your G menu, and we still haven't made the medical room. But anyways, I'm gonna grab some steel plates because I have to empty my inventory and get it all sorted out, and we're gonna start on that small grid ship out there, and I'll explain why that rotor's in the floor. Alright, so there are several ways you can start to build your first ship. I chose the method where we're burying a rotor in the floor, and we're using a small rotor head to give small grid the ability to be built onto our main base and draw power from the base to refill the batteries as we go. I think that's the best route for me. Your options may be different, but one of the routes you can choose is to just plunk down a small grid landing gear. That is stuck. That won't go anywhere. You can build on that and your build will be secure. That's not the route I like to use very often because, again, this will recharge my batteries as we build. Another option that I see that is actually more popular than I think it should be, and I'm guilty of using it myself, is just to place down a pedestal, usually something with like an eye shape to it, or a cross. Come over here, build off a couple of legs over here, building a nice sturdy little base. That won't tip now when we start to build something up off of it, build off of. Now we can build off of that stem. Again, I don't think this is a good method. I'm going to get rid of all of these, and we're going to start building the way that I think is best. There is one more option, though, that I will be showing you as soon as I got these done. How is my inventory full? Oh, I pulled plates out of one of these. Alright, now I can pick those up. Okay, so aside from using this to make your base start on the thing, there's another method that is actually pretty good. We're just going to change this over to a connector, make it small grid, line it up, and you can just take this and plonk it down right over top of this connector, and as soon as we build this up, it will go into place and you can hit lock. I don't like that because I like to be able to adjust the location of my build while I'm working on it, but that's another good option. So for us, we're just going to come over here and we're going to start by building this up by 3. And over by 3 more. And now we're just going to come in and we're going to grab our rotor here. And I've named it Build Assist. And we're going to change that displacement to 11 centimeters. And that's going to give us all the space we need to be able to place all of our blocks. Alright, now we're going to grab, much like the other method, we want this connector here. Now we're going to have that connector, and on top of that, you need to think about what this ship is going to be for. This ship is going to primarily be a scout ship. We're not going to do much with it. But, personally, I want the ability to load up some cargo in it. So we're going to come over and we're going to grab a container, and we're going to put a medium container sticking out this way. And the reason for that will become apparent once you see what I'm doing. And that's going to give us some ability to hook up our cargo to the inventory on the base, the ability to fill our cargo, and we're going to weld these 4 blocks up because they are going to get buried. And we won't have access to weld them easily when we're done. Now, every good ship is going to need power. We are going to add 2 batteries. And for the build I'm going for, I specifically want those power bars on the bottom in the back. So, yeah, you'll see what I'm doing here in just a few moments. Now, I'm going to add something that you probably don't need, but I like to have it on my ships because this O2 generator gives us the ability to load some ice into this and fill our hydrogen tanks. We're going to plop that that O2 generator right there, and that's going to come in handy for us. Now we're going to switch over and we're going to grab our cockpits, and you'll notice these ports on the back. This one only has the appropriate port to line up with that O2 on the bottom. And obviously we don't want to be facing the ground while we're flying, so that one's not going to work. We're going to use the fighter cockpit because the fighter cockpit, if I can get this to rotate right, has a large connector on the back and a small connector on the bottom and in the nose. And there. Now I'm going to get all this welded up, and we'll be right back. Alright, we've got this all welded up, and you can see everything is charging. I had to step away for a minute, so you'll see my batteries are actually nearly fully charged. Well, they're fully charged. Let's see, I haven't connected that, and the reason for that is because I just don't want it connected yet. I don't think we need it connected, and I don't want inventory to start being pushed into that on occasion. Now, I know that I'm going to want a landing gear sitting right next to this connector, and that's going to be 2 blocks high. So I need a line of steel plates there and there. Now, I'm also going to want thrust forward, and here's some things you need to... Thank you, Karen. Here's some things you need to think about when you're placing your thrusters. How many am I going to need? How many in each direction am I going to need? And you can go through and you can calculate based on how much thrust a thruster will give you. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it is available on the wiki if you want to go through and just calculate how much thrust each thruster can actually do. You can calculate lift based against how much mass you're going to hold. All that's available. You can actually do all the math and all the calculations and all that great stuff. I'm not going to do that. I think I've mentioned before, I like to YOLO it. I'm going to add 8 thrusters down, 4 thrusters forward. I think it was 6 thrusters backwards, and yes, 6 thrusters backwards and 3 thrusters on either side. I think that'll be good enough. You know, just kind of eyeballing it from playing for a long time. So, we're going to start with 4 thrusters on either side. And they're going to be on either side of this Oops. I didn't want that one there. There we go. So now we've got 4 thrusters on either side. And now we need 3 thrusters going backwards on either side. 2 thrusters on either side going forward. And you can stagger them, you can place them however you like. I'm just going to stagger them because I can. I may change that later, or I may regret that later, but that's what we're going to do. Alright, so now I've got thrust in all direction except sideways. And the sideways thrusters, I'm going to place them right here. But I need to build out the frame and the body of this ship before I can, because I can't place them yet. I need more stuff for them to place against. We'll get there. Now, there is a block that we haven't really discussed too much. You'll see the remote control block right here. Now, we're going to fly up and we're going to place that remote control block. And the way you want it is that white circle there, you want that facing forward. You can see from those 2 arrows on the top which way's forward. And that is the top where those arrows are. Am I out of interior plates? I must be out of interior plates. So we're going to come down here, and that's why we're building it on top of this. If I can actually get into that. Okay, I should be able to get in that. Okay, good. We're in. We'll add 10 interior plates to our inventory. Alright, so now we're going to place that remote control block right behind the cockpit. And you kind of want the orientation to be close to where you would be flying from. It works out better that way. You'll have to trust me on this. And then we're going to add 3 gyros. And we're going to add those right here, because that's where I want them. You can put them anywhere on the ship. Any forces that you apply, you'll notice I have not tried to even out my force. In this game, any force you apply, any thrusters you add to it, all those forces get applied to the center of mass. So you don't have to worry about being able to apply your thrusters in the proper directions or any of that hogwash. It doesn't matter. Alright, and down here, you're going to want a ore detector, and I'm going to put that down here, because the closer that is to the ground, the better. You have a limited range on your ore detectors. And right here, we are going to add an antenna. And you're going to need an antenna. It has to be an antenna to be able to access the remote from a distance. You cannot use a beacon for this. Or you're not supposed to be able to. So we're going to add those down there. I'm going to weld up all these thrusters. And once I weld them up, I'll be right back. Alright, I've got all of these welded up to just below functional. And including all the little bits and bobs we added underneath. And on top. Now the reason I stopped is because we want to get into this cockpit, and we want to come in and we want to grab all of the thrusters. We want all these incomplete atmospheric thrusters, and we want to turn them to off before we weld them up. And the reason for that is because these thrusters can damage the blocks below them. So you should never leave them running against another block that you want to keep. So now I just need to go and add a little bit more of welding to each one, and they'll all be done. And I don't have to worry about them blasting me with thrusters or blasting the base with thrusters. They're just there. So, now we're going to add the landing gear, which I probably should have added sooner. But I'll be honest, I had a moment where I forgot that I am sitting in a world with a jetpack. I don't usually play with a jetpack on. So, I don't recommend that for anybody who's new to the game, though. You're going to want to use your jetpack. And for sanity's sake, I'm going to face those in the same direction on both sides. Doesn't really matter which way they're facing. It doesn't really have a function to it. So don't worry about it if you don't want to. But they work good. I thought I added that. Okay. Now we want to weld these up because they're going to get buried in the ship. And they're going to actually be hard to reach later when you're trying to get everything ready to go. And we don't want to have this thing hovering in the air while we make changes. Now, we've got that. We've got the ore detector. We've got the antenna. We've got the gyros. We've got the remote. One thing you're probably going to want on here that we haven't used yet is a camera. Because that remote, you're going to need something to be able to see. Now, when you're placing the camera, you need to look at it real close. It says camera on it, and it has a little light on it. That little light should be on the bottom, and the camera should be read from across the top. We are going to place it right here. And that's not the best place to place it, but it should work well. So we're just going to place that right there, and we'll have a camera for this remote control to actually use. So we'll be able to enter that remote control, view out that camera, and fly the ship. Not that I plan on actually having to use that, but it's nice to have the option. Alright. Now, before we actually add the body paneling and start getting this all done, one of the things we also need to add is lights, because you want to be able to see where you're going. So, you're going to see these spotlights here, and these are really nice. They have a pretty good range on them. Not the greatest of range, but they have a pretty good range. So we're going to add some spotlights to it, because who doesn't like being able to see where you're flying at night? Let's see if I can actually get to that. There, now we got it all. Alright, so now we've got two spotlights on here that we'll be able to see with. We're going to wind up adding some lighting on this to be able to give us some situational lighting. Lights out the side, maybe some lights facing down. We'll see about that. But for the most part, this could almost pick up and fly right now. So now, we're going to start on trying to add some body paneling to this. Because we need them to be able to put the side thrust on. Alright, so I went ahead and I finished up all the styling. And I am not the greatest stylist. The reason I did all of the styling, though, is because it's really a boring process to watch somebody go through. I was just placing blocks. I really didn't have much to tell you. I did, however, forget to change the color of two blocks here. These lights need to be black. And I just changed the color in my P menu here. Change it to whatever color you want. And then you just point at a block and center click. It changes the color. I'll change that back to blue. And I'll center click. Now I'm going to go back to black because I need to add those thrusters. And I want them to be black. So we'll add in all of those thrusters here. Alright, so now we've got all three thrusters placed. And then we have to add the lighting. And the lighting, I'm actually just going to leave that the standard color. Right there. And I'm going to switch to the... Oops, helps if I have my toolbars turned on. Switch to this toolbar here. Now, I have these corner lights because I can't think of a better thing to place. Now, I know I want one lined up with each landing gear, but I need to weld this up, and I need to see which way the offset's going. I'll need to shut off my lights for this. Oh yeah, and I dug out a trench here so I could get underneath and do some paneling underneath the body of the ship. See, can I hit that? Yes, I can. Okay, we're going to hit K here. We're going to come to our corner lights. Did I place a couple corner lights already? I did. Oops. Well, we'll explain how those work right now. Okay, we're going to come to our corner lights. And I do believe this is going to be corner light 10. Alright, and we're going to come down to radius. We're going to leave it where it's at. And we're going to go to offset. And we're just going to increase the offset. And that is going out away from the ship. You can see its reflection down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen there. It's just going away. And so that's going out. I want this one to be going down. So we're going to delete this one. Just get rid of it right here. Alright, now we know it's coming out. Which means right now it's going up. And it's going down. And we're going to put the exact same light on the other side. And we want some to be coming out. So flip it back that way. And we want one there and there on both sides. So now these two lights on either end will be shooting out to the side. This one will be facing down. And that's these ones will be facing back and out. Alright, let's weld all those up. And these, I just used the light armor panels to add a little accent. And the reason I did that was just so I'd have some place to attach those lights. You can see they're barely holding on there. But I needed something. And I couldn't find a good light situation to put there that would face down. So that little bit of accent, it adds some accent and it allows me to attach the lights. Because if we want lights, we need a place to put them. Alright, and that's pretty much done. I'm going to get those thrusters all welded up. And then we're going to set up all the lights. We're going to change all the settings to be all the way out, maximum radius. So maximum offset, maximum radius. All 6 of the lights. 8 of the lights. Alright, that is all welded up and ready to go. That thing is flight worthy now. So, we're all set. And I should note that I did dig this little trench in the floor so I could get access down here to put on all this paneling, which has not been painted yet. Alright, now we'll hop... Wait a minute, didn't I change those colors? My goodness, how did I keep... My goodness. Don't worry, we're all human. Now that we're in the ship, we've got this all flight ready. It's ready to go. Everything's perfect and beautiful. Now we need to set up the bars. The first thing we need to do is we need to come in and we need to turn on all of the atmospheric thrusters. Turn them on. Alright, now all the thrusters are working. Let's make sure the batteries are set properly. Okay, good. You want to make sure the batteries are set properly so that they don't stop working as soon as you do this. We need to cut it free of the base. There, it's cut free of the base. And if nothing was done wrong, your ship will stay right there. If, for some reason, you've changed the thrust override, your ship will move at this point. Don't change the thrust override. There's a time and a place for it. This ain't it. Alright. So now we're going to come in and we are going to just start to group things. And the first thing you need to do when you're getting all this set up is set a name. And we're going to call this the Blue Swoosh. Because why not? It's better than the alternative names that I have, which are Flying Pill, Flying Things I Can't Say on YouTube, and yes, it's not the prettiest of ships, but it's a blue swoosh on the side, so we're going to call it the Blue Swoosh. Alright, and that means we're going to go ahead and we're going to append BS at the front of each of these for Blue Swoosh. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Blue Swoosh in front of all of these things here. Technically speaking, this is just a bunch of work that does not need to be done. It's just to save you a bunch of heartache down the road. Because say you're working on the rover over there, and you need to change the antenna settings. And you just want to change the antenna settings from inside the base. You go into this list and you see that there are 3 antennas listed. One for the base, one for the rover, and one for this ship. Which one is it? Is it the antenna that just says antenna? Is it the other antenna that just says antenna? Or is it this antenna here that just says antenna? Well, this appended BS allows you to know which one it is. Alright, now that we have all of our BS components labeled with BS so that we all know that they're BS, we can come in and we can take all of the thrusters here, and we can just call them BS thrusters. Alright, so all those thrusters there, we're going to hide them in terminal. We're going to turn off show blocks in toolbar config. That will be on by default. Alright, and we're going to take the batteries and we are going to group those as well. We're going to call them BS batteries. I like to use bats. And we're only going to hide one of them in the terminal. The BS camera, the BS cockpit. And then we're going to take all the BS corner lights and we're going to take those and we're going to say show block and, well, we're going to first name them BS exterior. Well, we'll put lights. Save. Show block and terminal off. Show block and toolbar config off. So now we've got BS thrusters, BS bats, BS exterior lights, and we've got BS feet. Show block and terminal off. Show block and toolbar config off. Alright, and BS gyros. Show block and toolbar config off. And I may have already changed that and forgot to actually hide it. BS gyros. Save. Show block and terminal off. And BS spotlights become BS headlights. Alright, we are all set now. We've got everything named, everything's ready to go, and you see that list is substantially shorter now. A whole lot less to sift through. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up the toolbar. By pressing G, you can come in and you can see all of the options you have for setting the toolbar. We've got our groups here, we've got character emotes, and we've got blocks. We can also set lights, but we hid all the lights on the toolbar config because we grouped them. Alright, first and foremost, you want your antenna. And actually you want that on 2. Toggle block on off. You want your ore detector on block 1. Toggle on off. You want... I thought I had all the thrusters hidden. Okay. Alright, you want your connector on 9. And you want switch lock. And this is just how I set it up. You can set it up however you like. And now we're going to come to groups. And we're going to set landing gear, switch lock. And we are going to set batteries to recharge on off. You can see it's set for auto right now. We're going to say thrusters, toggle block on off, toggle block on off, not toggle block on. And now we're going to bring gyros, toggle block on off. Now technically speaking, these two don't always have to be there, but they do come in handy. And now we're going to come in here and we're going to grab our groups again, and we're going to put headlights, toggle block on off, and exterior lights, toggle block on off. Alright, and now this is completely set up. We can come in, we hit P, we are locked in place, nothing is running, And we can come in, see the 9 over there. The connector says it's locked. You can change the batteries to recharge, turn off the thrusters, turn off the gyros, turn off the lights, and turn off the antenna, and turn off the ore detector. Now, there are a couple of things, and this is why we did this. BS. There's all the BS stuff. So on our BS antenna, I forget what the actual default radius is. You're going to want to set this as low as you feel comfortable. And the reason for that is because as you slide this slider, you'll see the antenna is using more and less power. I'm happy with 200 meters, so we're going to set it at 200 meters, but that's using 800 watts. And technically speaking, we should probably be able to get away with probably 100 meters. But 200 means that if I'm on the ground and this is in the air, I got a better chance of being able to reach that remote, which is important. And we want the ore detector. I think we went over this before. Maximum range, broadcast using antenna. Alright, now we've got our Blue Swoosh right here. And if we come into K, with that remote control, we can actually come down and we can hit remote access. It probably would help if I turn that back to auto, turn those on, unlock the landing gear, unlock that. Alright, now that that's separate, we'll come into our K menu, hit remote access, and we'll see the Blue Swoosh here. Now you can go to the control panel, the control button, and you have control of this ship. You are flying it remotely. And we've already put the camera on there, so you can actually look out that camera and see what it's facing at. You can't go into third person, you're just using the camera, but it's there. And you hit F again to back out of the camera, and F again to back out of control. We go back into the K menu, we hit remote access, and also go to the terminal, and just remotely access all the terminal blocks and take care of things there. Now, we are going to go ahead and hop back in because it's easier. Hit P again. We are all connected up and everything is ready to go here. This is a completed ship. Alright, now we're going to blueprint this because I'm happy with it, which means I actually need to take it off. And we are going to come over to this and we're going to hit Control B, pointing at the cockpit. And that's going to bring this up. We've got the Blue Swoosh. And we can hit exit because it's saved now. We've got that saved. And this will be available on the workshop if you want to tear this apart and look at it later. Now, we're going to go in and we're going to add a couple more things. And I want to change my color. We're almost done. Almost completely done. We want this. And we want a projector. The projector, I've struggled with the orientation of this. But the thing to remember is the icon up in the description there, that's showing you one of the sides and one of the fronts and the top. The front is right here. You can see that there. That band coming down the front. You've got 3 sides other than that have no markings on them. 4 technically because of the bottom also. And then the top has that cross on the top. So we're going to place that right there. And we're going to weld that up. Alright, now that we've got that projector, we're going to move this over to the side here. Ooh, that was rough. Okay, we're just going to park this right here. Take it out for its maiden voyage after we do this. Alright, now we need a control seat. Let's grab all the components for a control seat. we're just going to place the control seat right here. Because it's a good enough spot for it. Alright, so we're going to come into the projector. And in this projector, you can come in and you can pick a blueprint. And we're going to pick the Blue Swoosh. Just double click it. It adds it to the projection. Hit keep projection. Alright, and there's a few things you can set on here. I usually prefer to just move this to my bar. And I'll do that now. And then I'll point at the icons and say what they are. Alright, we've got everything on the bar. And the way these work is I've just got projector on off. And I've got that as the first button on all three of my toolbars here. And then there's projector offsets. You've got plus or minus, horizontal, vertical, and forward. So you can increase, decrease, forward, vertical, and whatnot. And then you've got the rolls. You've got 3 rolls: pitch, yaw, and roll. And that's just increase and decrease the angle. That only works in 90 degree increments. And then on bar 3, you also have scale. You can increase and decrease the scale of the blueprint that is showing. And you've also got spawn projection. And if I switch into creative mode, I can actually just make it spawn another ship. I'm not going to be able to use this button, but I put it here so I could show you it exists. Now, I can't really see that all that well, but we'll just switch back to first person view and we'll count it. Come down, you look, and you can see it's already in the correct orientation, so we don't need to mess with the pitch and yaw and roll. But we need to move that forward. It looks like 2. Looks like that block right there is the center. So we need to move it 1, 2. 2 blocks forward. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 blocks over. Alright, so actually I think it's 4. We're going to go with 4. Okay, and we'll move it up. Think that's high enough? And now we can come over to 7. And now I've moved it 2. And let's see. That looks good. That looks like we're set up where we need to be. Wish I could make that projection a little darker so you could actually see it better, but that's what they look like. They're just holograms. Alright, so that's good. Now if we come up here and we need to rebuild this thing, we can build a block right there on top of that and start building off of that block. So this just allows us to open up the projection and rebuild that ship from scratch if we need to without having to redesign it. Projectors are a beautiful thing. Now we're going to get rid of this seat and we're going to move the Blue Swoosh back into place after I fix that floor, because we can't leave it like that. Alright, we got the floor fixed and the daylight's coming out. So, change of plans. We're going to zoom in here and we're going to take this for its maiden flight. Alright, so we've got everything on. We don't need the lights on. We need the antenna on. We need the ore detector on. Alright, the acceleration is not too bad. I'm happy with the acceleration. It seems to control with the mouse rather easily. And can it hold itself up on the side? It can. That's good. So what about nose down? Need to come to a stop to check nose down. Nose down. It can hold itself up. Nose down. Perfect. And we've got more thrust backwards, so we know that's going to be good. Alright, now the whole point was to come out and we need to find some ore. And I haven't seen this ore patch. I've probably driven over it a dozen times. Let's go ahead and come down here and see what's in this ore patch here. All I'm getting is ice. Did I miss the ore pet? Gold! Woohoo! We need gold. Awesome. That means we can upgrade our production, our refinery. Silver! Yes! We can make a med bay! Awesome! Well, the whole point in building this ship was to go out and scout for ore. And we just found the two we were missing. And we weren't missing them. We just didn't know they were there. Alright. And we've got about 15 minutes of flight time. That's not too bad. Not good. But we've got a reliable 15 minutes of flight time. If we turn off the antenna and the... ooh, we are peaking our battery a little bit. Oh, that's good to know. That matters. So we are just a little bit overpowered in our thrusters for the battery use we have. Alright. Not too bad, though. It's not... yeah, it's not too bad. I'm happy with that. That's going to be a good enough setup. A reliable 15 minutes of flight time. That'll get us most of the places we need to go. Yeah, that'll work. If I were to redo this, I would probably put more battery power on it. Perhaps take out 2 of the rear thrusters and 1 side thruster on either side. So if we take out 2 of the rear thrusters and take out 1 of each of the side thrusters, that would get us where we need to be, power-wise. I'd be real happy with that. Now we're going to park it back in place. Careful not to crush the nose against the door here. Going to have to move that connector back, I think. Alright, and then we'll just come in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Nope, just 5. Alright, we're all set. Everything's off. Batteries are recharging. We're good to go. And we can look and see that the battery's 3/4 of the way full. So I'm happy with that. This was successful. As I said previously, the blueprint for this will be up on the workshop. The link will be in the description down below. So if you want to tear this apart and use it for reference, go for it. Although I would suggest don't use the styling. Just make it your own. And hopefully do something better or cooler. Because I'm not the best designer. But I'm rather pleased with this. This turned out better than I'd hoped. This was really set up just to give examples and explain how to build a ship. So, if you found this useful, found this helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. Go check it out on the workshop. And I will see you in the next video where we're going to build a mining ship because we need that gold and silver. So, thank you for watching. Y'all have a great rest of your day. See ya.